Right then, so here we are. Today's the day. I've got to have a look at this gearbox. Second gear's gone making a funny noise, or knocking noise. But to do this, I need to move my Land Rover a bit so I can get both doors wide open. Because if the gearbox has got to come out, it will come out the passenger side, which I've got more room over that side there, you know, on my driveway to do this. I'd like to be doing it in my garage. But I've already got a Land Rover in there, and I'm rebuilding my trailer, which is everything's in the way in there. It'd be a lot to move all of that out, and I don't want to be leaving my other Land Rover out on the road here while I do this one. So I'm going to fire this up. Always starts first time, this engine. Lovely engine. Listening to that gearbox now. You can hear, I'm just putting the phone closer to the floor actually. You can hear the drivetrain turning. A slight little bit of a knock there. Now I'll put the clutch down. Obviously that stops. So the gearbox itself, whatever's turning in the gearbox, is actually making a rattly noise itself. Clutch back up again. There it is, knock, 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 knock. So, not sure yet, but let's get this moved over and we'll have another look. Right, I've just moved it over. I'm going to venture underneath and now you can hear that knocking. So something is associated with second gear and whatever is turning in that gearbox right now, which I'm assuming is the lay shaft. So it's probably something on the lay shaft. Definitely hear a knock, 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 knock there, can't you? So, not too much oil leaking around, looking at this. Coming there, look. So I've got the top shaft, and the top shaft goes in. A bit of a drip here, transfer box. But other than that, hope it's an easy fix. Right. Oh, stood up again. I just spotted, see these trainers? Now they're, when I first bought them, they were white. They were a brilliant white. And this was back in about, 1996, I think, around about there. It's probably 97, but I've kept them and kept them and kept them. They're the most comfortable trainers I've ever owned. My wife's thrown them in the bin a couple of times and I've dragged them out, and she said to me, if I'm going to see them trainers lying around, they're going in the bin again. So to disguise them, I sprayed them green. Look good, don't they? I love these trainers. I'm going to keep them until they fall off my feet. Anyway, I need to start ripping everything out of the cab here. Centre seat first. Let's get down to the gearbox. Right. I'm halfway through taking stuff out of the cab, clearing the cab out. I've took the centre seat out, had a look underneath the cover here, you know, down at the bloody overdrive. Anyway, I've noticed the linkage for the overdrive just here, there, that wants a new pin, and there's a lot of play in that. But I've also got a visitor. This is our Ruby. She seems to like living in this Land Rover, but she's going to have to come out. But there's one thing I want to point out before I lift her out, is this here. That's my gear knob. That's also my gallstone. A few years ago now, I think about 3 years ago, I had so much trouble with that gallstone. So they removed my gallbladder and the gallstone, and I begged the surgeon to keep the gallstone because he said I've only got the one and it's a very large one. So I told him I wanted to turn it into a gear knob for my Land Rover, and he was a little bit reluctant to believe me, but he gave me his email address and I had to send him photos of the finished product. I mean, it did look really nice and shiny when I first did it, but over the years with grotty hands on it all the time, and it does want a bit of cleaning up. So ready, that can be pulled off now, and when I put everything back together again, I shall give it a bit of a cleaning up. And we've got another little passenger here, look. This is Sapphire. She likes to sit in the landy all day long. Well, she's going to have her mum in there with her in the back. They can sit in the back, not the front, because I need to work in the front. So then, right then, Ruby dog, I know you're looking very comfy sat there. No good closing your eyes and pretending you're asleep. You need to get out. No, don't be nodding off. I can see you looking. Oh, I know. Come on then, up you get. Actually, it's really no good me talking to this dog because she's tone deaf. Deaf as a post. Right, that's got the dog out. This flooring that's in here, some of you would have noticed by now, it's the Wright off-road stuff. Andrew Wright, he designed it and perfected it and has it made, and he doesn't live too far from me. He's up at Brixworth, I'm in Northampton, so it was just a short ride out to his place to collect it and bring it home and fit it. Brilliant bit of kit. You can just get the hose on it, wash it, scrub it. It's hardware in. This has been in here, must be 5 or 6 years now, I can't remember how long, and it looks as good as the day I put it in. But getting that floor piece in and out is a bit of a bugger. It's heavy, and at the minute it's wet. So I'll get back to you when we got this out. Right, floor is out, but it's all looking a bit manky mucky there from off-roading past couple of years or more. So it's not too oily actually. Well, I was expecting a lot more oil to be lying around everywhere, but as when we looked earlier, there wasn't so much oil actually dripping out of the box and that. So, and I do check it regular, and it does need very little topping up from time to time, you know. So, but the overdrive, that's certainly looking a lot more oily, because it, when it comes and pisses out of that tiny little hole out that plate, if you overfill it, of course. So the art of the craft is not to overfill it. But you can see this bit better now. Look at this thing here. It's a lot of flapping around. So while that's all apart and off, I should be making up a new pin there, if not buying a new pin. Make that a bit more secure. And also this end here, this was always a bit rattly, so I'm gonna, you know, the overdrive stick, because always bloody vibrating around and everything. So I'm going to see if I can firm that up as well while we've got things apart. But first of all, I need to get the jet wash out. Just give all this a bit of a cleaning up in here. Much nicer when you're working with clean stuff rather than mud and grit and oil and everything else dropping in your eyes. Right, back soon. Right, still got two dogs watching me in the back there, but I've had the jet wash out and given the gearbox a good cleaning up now, and I've been in for a cup of coffee and a little sit down. I've also had a couple of visitors, you know, which come in handy actually at the time when they did, because I needed to let this just dry off anyway. But I've had my airline out on it just to dry off, you know, any other bits and just blow the water away. Although I might have to be taking it out, I don't really want water just dropping inside in the oil and everything else. So anyways, now it's dried off, I'm going to start taking a couple of covers off and see if I can see anything, see what's going on. Right, so here we are now. Floor's out, everything else is out. I've undone a lot of linkages for the overdrive, etc, etc. I've also had this cover off, and subsequently I've lost the bloody ball bearing that sits in this hole. Got the spring, got the cover off, but God knows, I don't know what's happened to the ball bearing. It might have dropped inside the gearbox, but I did drain the gearbox and these came out. Get that in focus, there we go. Two teeth. But no matter how much I looked inside the gearbox here, I even used my inspection lamp thing and still can't find which gear they've actually broken off. So anyway, it's going to be a gearbox out job now, so I'll carry on with this tomorrow. Fed up with it now. Going to pack up, take the dogs out, go and get some fish and chips for me dinner, and carry on with this tomorrow then. I mean, the worst of it's already done. It's just a matter of undoing the bell housing, taking the prop shafts off, and I might just get the grinder out and cut the cross member off, because I have got a military type one, and what needs a couple of brackets making, which I could do and fit a removable gearbox cross member while the gearbox is getting repaired. I'm not going to attempt doing it myself. I do know somebody that does know what they're doing with it. If they've got another gear, then you know that they can put in, then all is well. But I don't know where I'm going to source another gear from. So that's the situation as it is. Ought to take the overdrive off and stick the other gear back in the back of that when it goes off for repair. Mind you, it depends who's going to do it. But anyway, I should be out here again tomorrow morning and disconnecting all the other bits and pieces, and then I might just drop the gearbox on the floor by taking the cross member off, rather than lifting this seat box back out again. It's a pain in the arse, as you know, taking the seat box out. But saying that, I've come this far with it, so I might just do that anyway. We'll see. I'll decide tomorrow. Also, while I've been working here today, might not see because the sun's up there, but little sparrow right up there on the chimney. Now what they're doing, they're nesting in my eaves. You can see a gap there at the bottom of that guttering. They go in and out there, and also at the front of my house, when I moved in 18 years ago, I got a loose tile up the top there, and I didn't bother repairing it because we moved in the May, and the sparrows were flying in and out there, so I left it. I thought I don't want to box them in or close off their little home, so I've left it, and it's been like that for 18 years, and year upon year the sparrows come back to nest. And they've also moved in around underneath here as well. God, sun right in my eyes then. Anyway, catch up tomorrow.